Podcast Network.
Well, welcome back to KingWoes Court. We're going to get to episode 14 in a minute, but for now, I just want to say one or two things. Last week, the 11th of March, I suffered a heart attack. Yeah, it was not expected, although I am a fat fucker, so, you know, it was probably expected by some people. Anyway, it was a scary, scary situation. I'm still alive. Amazing work done by the staff up in St. James's Hospital. They were very quick getting me up there. They were very quick, and putting stent in me and whatever else. So thank you to them. I've a bit of a road to recovery to go, but I'm going to get there. A few lifestyle changes here and there. But sure, that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. I have two beautiful children to look after. I have a beautiful, beautiful wife, partner. She's unreal. Arlene is unreal. She is the rock behind me, so I'd be lost without her. Anyway, on to KingWoes Court. I'm just going to take a few weeks away from actually, podcasting with people. Just a couple of weeks to just get myself kind of refreshed and, back on track a little bit. So for the next couple of weeks, we're going to have some throwback episodes. And I hope you like them. They're there already, but I want to move everything back over all to the one area, to the DPN YouTube page. So, keep liking and subscribing and sharing and commenting if you have anything to ask me or say about the show. Thumbs up and thumbs down are all, happily accepted. So, but if you have any questions or if you have any topics or if you have anyone that you want me to podcast with, throw a suggestion up there, because I'm quite hoping to, once it's Irish, I'm quite happy to talk to anybody. So let's see what happens. So enjoy the next few weeks. I'm going to try and get back on track with my health, and we will see you all soon.
Your face, brooding over the old disgrace. The Black Fitzwilliam stormed your place, drove you to their fern. Grace said victory was short, and soon the firebrand he'd secure until he met at Glenmalure with Fiat McHugh O'Byrne. Curse and swear, Lord Kildare, fate will do what fate will there. Now Fitzwilliam, have a care, fallen is your star low. Up with halberd, out with sword, on we go for by the Lord. Fate McHugh has given the word, follow me up to Carlow. The flashing over the English males, see all the children of the gale. Billy O'Byrne's banners, rooster on a fighting stock. Would you let a Saxon conqueror upon an Irish rock? Fly up and teach up manners. Curse and swear, Lord Kildare, fate will do
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That was a fantastic track by Cruachan there called
The Marching Song of Fiach McHugh.
There you go. And that's actually an old song, just got modified by your good selves, isn't it?
Yeah.
Before we get on, thank you very much for coming today, Keith Fay.
You're most welcome.
Welcome to KingWoes Court.
Yes, it's great to be here.
It's a big nerd castle,
it
as you can see.
absolutely is. It's great to see the king on his throne.
I'm still here anyway. I still have the throne. Thanks for coming again. That's a fantastic version of that song, by the way.
Cheers.
I remember hearing it years ago, and then hearing that, and it's just actually hearing, like, doing my research, we'll say, hearing all your different versions, your versions of older songs. It's fucking cool, like,
and that's, we've always tried to do that. So we just picked that song. I was in another band at the time doing ballads, and I was like, I mean, everyone knows the song in Ireland, but I thought, I really like this. Proposed to the guys, and we just put it together in the studio one day. And there's a bit of history behind the lyric. Like, the original text is called The Marching Song of Fiach McHugh, and years later a famous band just called it Follow Me Up the Carol. So the title is Marching Song. But that's why we did that. And the reason why we picked that as our song today is we noticed I know you were going to ask me this anyway, but we noticed on Spotify over the last year, that song is just creeping up and creeping up. It's getting the most listens. It's now number 2 most listened Cruachan track. It's nearly beaten Ride On. So we had an opportunity to do a live video. So we said, we could do something from the new album. We weren't really happy with the last video that we did from 9 Years of Blood. But we said, no, let's actually be like totally exploit how popular the song is becoming and put an official video out there.
Excellent.
So that's the reason behind that.
And where was that recorded? Can you mind asking?
That was in Romania, in Transylvania. We played Celtic Transylvania Fest in the summer. So we knew it was going to be a good crowd there. A lot of crazy Cruachan fans, and no better place to do a live video. So it's a live video. There's no cringy stuff. I mean, the last video we did was great. We did it with oh God, I've forgotten his name because I'm being recorded.
That's always the way.
Oh my God. Oh, he'll kill me if he's hearing this. He'll absolutely kill me.
We'll figure it out somewhere down the line.
He runs Cleve. He does all the reenactment stuff.
Okay.
He's a very good friend.
And he's a good
I've forgotten his name.
Filmmaker.
Oh my God! But we worked with him, whoever he is, on the last video, and we got historically accurate costume. Well, but they're not costumes; they're actually uniforms and armor and stuff that the guys wore. So the video looked great; it was historically accurate, but it just wasn't put together the way we wanted it. That was for the Battle of the Yellow Ford. Mm-hmm. So we weren't very happy with it. It looked great, and we just wanted to do something a little different for this one. That's why we went with the live kind of setting. We're on stage, the crowd are there. We've got some fire, people playing with fire and all that kind of stuff. We're really happy with it.
Definitely, yeah. And what you call it? Yeah, like, this is going to be a great insight for, I think, suppose you could say most, because a lot of Irish bands listen to KingWoes Court, which is great. But you'll be able to give us a great insight into what it's like actually properly playing outside of Ireland. And I think that's what a lot of them want to do, is get the fuck out of Ireland, you know what I mean?
Absolutely,
and just get out there, and you'll be able to help us with that today at some point, I'm sure. So let me just bring it right back to the start, if you don't mind. Give us a little brief history of your band.
Wow.
A brief history. I know you have a serious history. But first of all, can I just kind of lick your ass a little bit, if you don't mind?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I always do
just
say.
Just bend over here. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, up on the table. I always say it though, and without yourselves and Primordial and a few others, none of us would be able to do what we're doing today. So thank you. Yeah,
well, it's true. Ourselves, Primordial, and a couple of others definitely have kept Ireland in people's focus throughout the world.
Yeah.
Especially the kind of Celtic stuff that we both do. It's and when folk metal became popular, they looked to Ireland as well. I mean, they looked to Cruachan more so as one of the creators of the whole genre. So if you're coming from Ireland, we've done a lot. I personally think so
too.
That's great.
And I do appreciate like you playing so many times and so many gigs, and whether it's I'm a different style of music to your guy, that, but we're still Irish at the end of the day, and we're still representing when we go out.
Absolutely.
So Thank you
Absolutely.
from my band anyway, and
Well,
I'm sure I
thank you,
can
Carol.
talk from a lot of other bands in here. So thank you.
Appreciate that. Cheers.
Anyway, sorry. Back to business. Tell me about.
Okay,
Cruachan.
so 27 years in a couple of minutes.
Wow, that's a lot of years.
I started playing in a metal band when I was 12. I played in Crypt. I was the vocalist. No, I didn't. No, before that, it was a band called Puss, which was PUS.
PUS?
Pure utter shite is what we call it. Because back then it was really normal to listen to like death metal and hardcore punk, and we were kind of a cross between the two. Now there's a very different kind of world out there. You don't really get that kind of crossover of styles. Yeah, of course there are some people that do, but yeah, we were kind of a punky hardcore death metal band. And this was way before the Norwegian black metal scene explosion in the early 90s. So I was into Creator and Napalm Death, like Mick Harris from Napalm Death. So the screams, Carcass, he was in there as well, Bill Steer, and the screamy vocals is what I was really loving before they became so popular with the Norwegian explosion. So that's the way I sang. My sister's boyfriend at the time, Martin Cahl, was in a really amazing death metal band called Crypt, and you can hear some of their stuff out there. It's on YouTube. It was really technical death metal.
Way ahead of its time.
Nothing like it in Ireland. But they didn't have a vocalist, and they were all around 18 and 19. And we was like, oh, you should hear my kid brother. Oh yeah, what age is he? He's 12. That's not going to happen. But I played a gig somewhere, and the drummer, Steve Dunn from Crypt, was there, and he heard me singing, and he was like, holy shit, like, this is amazing. He's only 12, and he sounds like, And if you hear the demos that are out there, I was 13 when we recorded those demos. So I got into Crypt, and slowly over the year that I was in Crypt, I wanted to do my own thing. So that's when I started Minas Tirith around the age of 13 or 14. Like, seems like I'm some serious, like I know what I'm talking about. I was like a complete kid.
That was the Lord of the Rings thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So the whole theme and concept of Minas Tirith was Lord of the Rings and J.R.R. Tolkien stuff. So that was me, Stephen Anderson, Jay O'Neill, the drummer, and eventually we started to incorporate folk music into the stuff. And I was so much into Celtic history, Irish history, mythology. Then started to write more about that than Tolkien. So we changed our name to Cruachan, and that's how we started. So I was about 14 when we became Cruachan. And interesting, you'll see on every Cruachan album since, more or less there has been a Tolkien song. There's a Lord of the Rings song on there. So yeah, got the band together. Pretty much wrote the first album at the age of 15.
Wow.
Which is considered like it's a cult classic, one of the first extreme folk metal albums ever made, that type of thing.
Play.
And we did our demo before that, self-recorded in a place called The Shed Recording Studios. Joe Lahart was the producer.
Okay.
Now, this is over 25 years ago. I don't know how I can still remember this.
Fair play.
I can't remember fucking... God, I thought it would just come. I can't believe I just have a complete blank. I'm so sorry, Dave, if it's Dave. Jesus Christ, it's embarrassing. The more I'm going on about this, the more embarrassing it is on the podcast.
Dig a hole for yourself.
We got the Celtica demo released. Then we got a record deal with Nazgul's Irie Productions, which were a real underground... Oh, the black metal scene at this time was erupting in Norway and Scandinavia. So we were, at the time of writing the Celtica demo and the early Cruachan stuff, I was really into like the Emperor stuff, the Dark Throne stuff. So there's big influence on that first album. So an underground black metal label got in touch with us. They had released an album by Countess, who were very well regarded 25 plus years ago. Yeah. So they had a bit of a name for themselves. Sent over some money, recorded in Sun Studios in town with, another blank on another name. You just
keep lining yourself up for this.
I know, it's unreal. But the producer, he produced the first two U2 albums.
Oh, right, okay.
God, he was like either a producer or an engineer on them. You'll see him on like U2 War. This guy is here, but obviously he didn't know what the hell we were.
He was just at the time there, was he?
Yeah, he was just like, he was kind of a bit of... I'm not going to say anything bad about him, but he was just doing this for the cash. Like, there's no passion there. And he was like, what the fuck is this? Like, there's a tin whistle on a heavy metal band. Are you guys fucking insane? There's a record label paying for this? Are you fucking serious? This is ridiculous. So we recorded that over 4 nights in Sun Studios. There was no metronome or click track. It was all just played live, like fucking the Beatles in the late 50s, that type of thing.
Best way to do it.
Yeah, there was 1 or 2 overdubs, but ultimately it was live, and I was dead against metronomes and click tracks. I was like, oh, I've never in Cruachan. No, I can't live without them.
Really?
Like, because we've so much going on. It's just impossible. In order for us to play live, we'll need like 200 musicians on some tracks. Like I remember listening to Michael Richards, our producer, on your last podcast saying the tracks on the Cruachan album, and it is true. Like one album had 800 tracks. Now that's a sound effect will make up a track, a reverb track, 2 or 3 layers of reverb. Well, there's 4 tracks. Yeah. So you can see this all mounts up, and then you get to the instruments themselves. But back then with Two in the Gale, it was just the 4 or 5 of us in the studio. 5 days later, 5 nights, we recorded it through the night. We had an album, and it came out, and it caused major waves. Like nothing like this was out there. I mean, Skyclad had released their first 2 albums. And and I always say like our album was written before Skyclad's second album. Right. And like I don't consider Skyclad's first album a folk metal album. It's a thrash album with 1 folk metal song. Yeah. Which Skyclad are very good friends of mine. We often speak about that. But definitely they had 2 albums released. That's categorically true before our album did come out. But when it was released, it was just the extremity of the music, all that kind of stuff, which had a lot of record labels get in touch with us. And we had a manager at the time as well. We fucking stupidly decided to get a manager, which eventually led to Shane McGowan years later, because we sacked him and rehired him and this kind of thing. But we got an offer in from Century Media, which was like, whoa, like they're huge now. And they were huge back then. But our manager looked at the contract and said, guys, you're selling your soul. I mean, there was stuff in the contract that said every noise, like clapping my hands or something like this, they own that. They own every noise that Keith Fay makes. And that sounds shit. But since then I've seen a lot of contracts are similar. They do have that kind of ownership and you can negotiate and so on. But we just took our manager's advice. I was about 17 at the time. After Two in the Gale, and we didn't go for the record deal, and nothing really happened. So the band broke up around 98. And we broke up for about a year, but it's like, I'm sure you know, Carl, it's very hard to give up music when it's in your heart, you know, that type of thing. Very much so. Got the band back together, as they say, and started writing new stuff. But even our tastes had changed a lot. Right. You can see when we did get back together, we were working on the Middle Kingdom album, which is much more toned down from Two in the Gale. And we got signed by Hammerheart Records, which were a fantastic label back then. We released 3 albums on them, up to the Folklore album, toured around the world, played crazy countries that we never thought we'd dream of seeing. Left them, we wanted bigger and better, so we went to AFM Records.
They German, were they?
Yeah. They had Whitesnake signed to them at the time. But actually our last album with Hammerheart was Pagan, and when the recording quality of that's so bad, like really? It's just awful. And when I presented that to the record label, they're like, what the fuck is this? Like, they paid something like €12,000.
Where did you record that? Can you remember?
Radio na Lifa, the Gaelic radio station.
No way.
With Al Cohn, the old drummer from Paranoid Vision. I mean, Al's a great guy. And he was doing what he does. Like the drums are on, like, mic'd up with 4 microphones. Whereas with the Folklore album, we were used to a proper production.
Yeah, everything.
We use shit guitars, we use shit amplifiers and that kind of stuff. Oh, it was awful. So the record label said, we're not paying this. We're not paying. And we were like, what do you mean? Like, we presented the finished product. Like, it's shit. I'm like, what? And so we got like lots of legal fucking shit from the studio. You're going to court. We're gonna sue you. You have to pay the money. In the end, the record label paid and everything was fine. So after that, we left Hammerheart. Then we were signed to, we signed a deal with Black Lotus Records in Greece. And they paid for the Morrigan's Call album. And that was something like fucking 17 grand in Sun Studios. Like ridiculous. Wow. And for us back then, that was normal. That's what you have to pay to record an album. Yeah. When I look back at what we pay now, and the exceptional quality we get from Michael Richards in his studio in Blanchardstown for a fraction of the price, it just shows you how fucking ridiculous recording studios, the monopoly that recording studios had back then. So that cost around 17 grand. We recorded the album and Black Lotus Records went bust.
Oh no.
So here we were again in this situation. It was actually the owner of Sun Studios. He owns Grouse Lodge Studios again.
I know, but I can't remember his name.
Paddy Dunning, I think was his name. He rang me up saying, "Keep going to court, like, you have to pay this." I mean, I understand where he was coming from, but like I'm very young, Paddy. I don't know what to do here. He was telling us take out loans from banks all that kind of shit. We were like, oh man, like this guy will hammer us. But while that was going on, I was in touch with record labels. AFM came in and they paid the fucking 17 grand.
No way.
Fucking recording costs.
You wouldn't get that nowadays, would you?
Not in a million. I mean, with the bigger labels, yeah. I mean, like I hear what some Ailstorm albums cost, chatting to the guys on tour, and you're just like, what? That's outrageous. Wow. Like, outrageous.
And do you think it's like they just labor studios go, here's, say, Ailstorm, whatever. We just charge them that kind of money.
It's the producers more than that, and it's the equipment. Like sometimes you're renting the best of the best, and that costs money. The producer has his price. If you want him, you'll pay for him. Yeah, and that's just the way it is. But I mean, yeah. So we got that album out on AFM. Weren't too happy. They were very focused only on Germany. We thought that was our best. Well, every band always says that was our best album to date. Yeah. And I thought I should have done better. So we left AFM and we signed with Trollzorn Records, and oh no, we didn't. Jesus.
We were Candlelight.
We got signed by Candlelight Records, and we did Blood on the Black Road with them, and that's our first album we did in Track Mix Studios with Michael, and that was a bit of a mess, but it turned out great in the end. You know, just when you're in a new studio, you're unsure how to work. But Michael is fantastic, and everything came together towards the end, and then we're like, oh, this is a really good album. We're very happy with this. But we had an option to renew at Candlelight, and it didn't sell as well as they hoped. Right. And I mean, like everything is affecting the scene right now. They were looking at our older albums that were selling like 20 and 30,000 copies before MP3s. So I'd say Blood on the Black Road probably sold 5,000 or 6,000 physical CDs. Okay. Probably a bit better. I just can't remember. I mean, I could lie and say it sold 100,000, but that's pretty much what it was. It was below their expectations, so they pretty much cut us loose. Okay. And then we signed with Trollzorn, and like they've just been fantastic, so we haven't looked back. And are they just mainly like folk metal, Celtic metal? No, they do. I mean, there's a lot of folky stuff on there, but they do a mix of everything. They've got that kind of medieval, well, yeah, it is folk, I suppose, the medieval big German stuff. Like there's a band, Ignis Fatu, on Trollzorn, and I think one of their members is from Corvus Corax. Right. They're pretty big, but we'd be pretty much the second biggest on Trollzorn. After that, I mean, they're huge in Germany. They sell thousands of albums in Germany. We're their biggest band outside of the German market. Yeah. But collectively, they sell more than us. We're second. Would you do well in the German market as well? Yeah, we do relatively okay. There's a few markets where we still sell. Germany's one of them. I mean, Europe is one of them. Yeah. Most other places, like nobody, like in South America, in Eastern Europe, nobody. Of course, some people do. Don't take offense if you're listening to this, but mostly 99% of people just don't understand the concept of paying for music anymore. Yeah. That's the world we live in. That's the way it is. Like. And I mean, Jesus, if it affects the likes of my band, it affects your band even because you have a bigger scope. Well, we just accept now we're not like when we release an album, we release it immediately onto YouTube. So we just accept that's their last 4 albums being like that. It's just have it like if you pay for fantastic. Well, it's like a bonus. I mean, it's almost like merchandise is the way forward now, really, isn't it? Absolutely. I mean, not sounding like a prick, but when you become to the level that we're at, like we do festivals and we get nice payments out of it. Like we come back from the festival, they pay everything. We've got a nice wad of cash in our pocket. Plus we sell merchandise on top of that. Yeah. So it's fantastic. But look, it took 27 years of playing a completely unique type of music to get to this. Like I look at Celticore. They are struggling to get to these kind of levels, and they're a fantastic band. And they're just at that level. I mean, they even signed with they're label mates with us now. Well, it's like we have a reputation because we were one of the first, which is fantastic. And like if I was to give advice to any band, it's like create a completely unique genre of music that's never been heard before because it worked for us. But I mean, that's how hard is that now? That's what I mean. Like it's absolute bullshit. Like, we just caught a lucky break. Primordial as well, very very unique in what they do. So nobody else is there doing that. So like us, they got a nice break and got out there. You look at Cruachan, the Galway folk metal band, fucking exceptional. Yeah. Like great musicians, but they just they couldn't break out and they broke up. Like they're gone. They were fantastic. They were absolutely lovely people and fantastic bands. Is there many other bands like that trying to hit around the country? Can you folk metal bands? Yeah. No, not that I can think of. And there was one that used to play fibbers like something dog in their name. I never even seen them. Just their build on one of the Fibbers ads one night as folk metal. But I was away out of the country. I couldn't get to see them.
So that's probably, I mean, that's the gas thing. It's probably one of the least popular Irish or styles of metal in Ireland, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Irish metal, essentially, and that's one of the least.
And that for us, that was a nightmare. When we started, we were just laughed at, and people thought we were a complete joke in Ireland. They were like, Cruachan, they were like ridiculous. What a fucking embarrassment. Cruachan, embarrassing. And we lived with that for years.
And then you go over to fucking, like, get mobbed by fucking fans.
That's it, yeah, absolutely. Like, we're in Russia with bodyguards because there's so many fans. Like, it's
the typical Irish thing, though, isn't it? Like,
it's the begrudging Irish sentimentality. It's been there from my day when I first started.
It's not going to leave.
And it's there right now. I look at Fibbers sometimes. I mean, look, things have gotten much better. Like, we'll sell out shows here. Well, not sell out, but we'll... Like, the Button Factory packed last year. The couple of Voodoo gigs we did the previous years. I mean, they're packed out. 15 years ago, we'd struggle to get that in Ireland. But what I was saying was, you get that kind of mentality. The guys, arms crossed, not moving, just kind of, I'm a guitarist in the band too. Fuck you, there on that stage. I'm better than you. You get it all the time in Ireland. Like, nobody gives anyone credit or actually can say well done. Yeah. Like, the first time I seen you guys live, Two Tales of Woe, I was straight on Messenger the next day. That was fucking incredible. Yeah. I've never heard an Irish band doing that kind of music. Rather than... Fuck them, like, how dare they be good?
I know, I hate that. I like that, like, I'm involved. Anytime I'm at a gig, I'll always support. You know, it should be what we do. You know? Yeah. That's the way I look at it, you know?
But that's been there, the 27 years I've been in Cruachan, that attitude has been there. It's gotten a bit better today.
It needs to fucking change.
Yeah. We've got young people coming to our gigs, asking for autographs, asking for photos with us. Like, we never get that years ago. So it definitely is changing. The fact that, as you said earlier, Cruachan Primordial are on a kind of a different level, and I don't mean that as a wanker type of thing. Not. We're in, like, Hot Press magazine, we're in Metal Hammer, we're interviewed in Metal Hammer, interviewed in Terrorizer. So the kids in Ireland seeing that, well, they're a real band. Yeah. So there's a bit of respect there. So I think with that in mind, things should improve. Yeah. But yeah, that's Dog does their whole career here in Ireland.
Do you get the kind of respect that I feel you deserve from other Irish bands as well? Without you don't have to name names. As I said, I'm not looking for gossiper. But do you feel the respect? Say that I've given you, for example.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how that would manifest itself. Like, I don't have people like run out to me and like start bowing.
Well, no, I mean, Jesus Christ! When I'm talking about Irish metal, I always reference Cruachan and Primordial as the forebearers, and I do, and it's just the way it is. I'd like to think that most other Irish metal bands have that same kind of love and respect, like, you know what I mean?
I guess we do. I mean, we don't get what I had years ago, the Cruachan are shite, like, folk doesn't work in metal kind of things. Down with that kind of thing.
I mean, Jesus Christ. Again, as I say, listening back to stuff, all of the stuff, doing my homework, we'll say, some fucking heavy music there.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
This is some extreme black metal.
Who the fuck would say that shit, in fairness? Like,
yeah, well, there you go.
I don't know.
Then the tin whistle comes in and people are like, what the fuck?
And adds another layer to it. I don't know what they're fucking talking about. Sure, I remember, we were going on now. I would have loved for this to happen years ago, because we used to do Sledgehammer by Peter Gabriel.
Oh, yeah.
And it was, of course,
Two Tales of Woe.
Yeah, way. It was called it Sludgehammer.
Okay. Yeah.
But there was a guy who was a friend of ours who was a saxophone player, and we were jamming with him on the saxophone, and like that, like, it's done now, saxophone is in sludge and all, whatever, but it sounded so fucking weird, like, you know. And of course, he got sick, so he couldn't do the gig.
Oh no!
The one time we were going to do it, but like, it was something different, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was fucking raging about that.
When I mean, like, that's been part of my psyche. I remember Nocturnus bringing out their first album, and it was billed and promoted as death metal with keyboards, and I was all over that. That's when I was in Crypt. I was like, guys, let's get keyboards, and they were like, are you fucking serious? Like, keyboards in a death metal, man, fuck off. So I've always wanted to do music that has more to it, that definitely, you know, pushes boundaries. Yeah. Is what I'm trying to say. I remember an interview with Vinny from Asphyxia.
Oh yeah.
Vinny's a lovely guy, but he's a total purist. And this is going back again 25 years ago. I think Cruachan had their demo out, and that was in the Irish scene. You know, they were aware of this, like, what the fuck is this? And he was interviewed saying, like, would you ever, like, consider keyboards in Asphyxia, talking about Nocturne? So he's like, oh, I think, no, what do you think about it? And his answer was like, oh, it's absolutely ridiculous. Like, what's next? A brass band in a metal band? And I remember that as clear as day, 25 years ago. Yeah. And you look at, like, Terion and, like, all these bands that have played with orchestras.
Yeah. It seems
full-on brass sections and string sections and wind
Isn't
sections.
Isn't it great that they can do that now? And they can, like, I suppose not even experiment, but like bring it to that level.
Yeah.
And it just...
And we've done it on our last 2 to 3... I mean, up to the last 3 albums, we were doing a lot of keyboard stuff. Now, like John Ryan, our violin player, like he's doing violin, cello, double bass, layers on layers. There's a lot of string, like real strings on our album. He even plays on the new Borknagar album.
Oh, wow.
They were doing the same, like just the keyboardy stuff. And like I love Borknagar, I love Vortex's vocals, he's amazing. But they were just doing keyboardy stuff, and he was having a chat with Ostai, I think is the guy from Borknagar, saying, if you ever want real strings on your album, and lo and behold, he was like, yes, we bloody well do. And he's played on like 3 or 4 songs on the new album, like, which is really cool.
It's great to have that, to be able to make those connections.
Absolutely. And like such a great band, like one of my favourite bands. I've had their patch on my jacket for fucking years now, like, Cruachan's John Ryan plays with Borknagar.
Is he a full-time member? Or
no, he's just a guest on the album.
That's cool though, that really is. Listen, so how is... I'm trying to just think of the right way to say these kind of things. How is Irish metal perceived? You know, like you've been to all stretch of the world. Do they just think that it's all folk metal, or you know? Because I look at like there's very few of us out there that get to that level.
I don't know. Like I try to promote bands as much as I can. Like Dave from Celticore will tell you, I've been trying to get them on as many festivals as I can. Like, and it hasn't worked out so well. Okay, their name is probably not as big as the guys in festivals want, but I've tried to get them onto a lot of stuff, absolute lot of stuff. But speaking to the guys at festivals, what they come back with, excuse me, when I say, hey, there's another band, Celticore, like, are they folk metal? Yeah, wow, well, we've already got you. I'm like, oh, okay. We're not the same band, we don't play the same music, we're very fucking different.
Very different.
But that's what I hear sometimes. A few times I spoke to festival organisers about Celticore, another folk metal band. But that's really the only time I hear from them. Like, I honestly don't know what the perception is. Like, I'm not talking to enough people to really see. Maybe I should actually inquire a bit more and actually see what the story is.
It's not your mission, like, you know.
Yeah.
No, I just thought like maybe it might come up in conversation over the time and you know, that kind of stuff. Because it'd be, as I said, it's great to get someone who has that experience to see what's going on all over the place. Because as I said, the majority of us have only really played in England, like, you know. And
then you look at Dead Label. Like, Dead Label are doing
they played in Japan.
Yeah, there you go.
Did you use it played in Japan?
No, we haven't. We had a show coming up this year, and there was a cock up with, like, we gave her default rider, which has her fee, and they were like, no, point blank, and they got who did they get? They got Skyclad.
No way.
And then I was like, we're meant to negotiate the fee. Like, I'd literally do it for nothing. You know, it's my dream. I'm a video game nerd. I want to be in Japan. I've never been.
And they just said no.
And they're like, oh yeah. Well, we'll rethink this. And if you know, it's not gone, but that festival for early next year is gone. Like,
maybe it might come up again.
They do it at the end of the year, so we're going to negotiate properly.
That'd be class.
Oh, it's my dream. It's the one country I just would love to play.
Have you played in the States?
Well, 70,000 tons of metal, technically.
Well, that's American.
I mean, we flew to Florida.
Yeah.
No, we've not done any gigs in the States.
Is there any kind of interest from the States?
There's so much. Like, we've so many fans there. I look at the interaction on Facebook and where the Spotify views are coming from, YouTube views. But it's a nightmare to play the States now with visas and the cost of it. I can't see it happening anytime soon. But, that's a complete lie.
Okay.
Arcona offered us a support slot on our US tour this year.
Oh, lovely.
But we can't tour. That was for a month.
Right.
So we had a chance to tour North America with Arcona, which is taking place right now. They're on tour right now. But everyone in Cruachan has full-time jobs. We just can't tour for 4 months. 4 weeks. And you often say, look, we can do a week. But to get a band in for a week and another band in for 3 weeks is literally, it's just as much work done twice. So no one's going to accept you for a week. So yeah, that didn't work out.
So that just shows you that people listening at home, like even though as big as you are, you still have to have a job. And
absolutely.
It's, you know, it is really an expensive hobby, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, all of our touring and stuff.
That's not to take anything away, because
no. That's absolutely the reality of the situation. Like all of our touring is based on how many vacation days we have at work, which is why we favour festivals. And look, to be completely obscene, to do a week of touring will bring the same amount of money as doing one decent festival. Yeah. And as obscene, and people say, no, it's not about the money. Fuck that, you need money to live, so the more money I can get to buy more video games, the better.
And as well as that, if you're leaving family and that kind of stuff, absolutely. You need to be compensated for that, especially for a long period of time. Yeah, definitely. So and that's what frustrates, we were talking on Facebook, it frustrates me about the Bloodstock Festival. Oh yeah.
Irish bands just, we played Bloodstock. I'm like, but you're made pay your own fare, you're made camp. I've heard stories from bands that play there, their equipment left in tents, hope it doesn't get robbed. Mail Morda. Like they had to leave their equipment in tents, not paid, and I think that's shit. Like you wouldn't bring a plumber into your house and not pay him. Oh, yeah. You know, it pisses me off.
I think
I mean, exposure dollars, that whole meme.
Yeah, it's good in some ways. It is, because like I've done it.
I get that,
but I understand also where you're coming from as well. And yeah, it would be nice to have, like the way I roll with our band. We're there. We'll say right. So we're at a certain level, and we're kind of not even gigging much anymore, but that's by choice. Yeah. I always just if we're covered, our expenses are covered. Yeah. If it doesn't cost me to play a gig, that to me is good, because as I said, for me it's an expensive hobby now. You know, I have a family, I have a job, and I can't be going off on tour every couple of weeks and here and there. So the minimum we look for is if our expenses are covered, whether it's in Fibbers or fucking Galway or whatever. Yeah. But I mean, we played a gig in Leicester on the heels of the Bloodstock Festival, and they paid for our flights, they put us up, and
that's perfect.
We went into the place, they bought us dinner, they had a beer tab, everything. It was brilliant.
That's the way a band should be treated.
Yeah, but we felt great, like, you know, and we were, and like that. Because it's the UK, we're reselling ourselves all over again. Yeah. And we still, like, we went down well, we sold merch. And
yeah, I mean, like, Carl, I totally get that. Like, get out there, promote yourself. The more gigs you do, the more people hear you. Absolutely. It's just the few specific festivals. Yeah. I just have a problem with it. I just don't think Irish bands get treated the way they should be.
So we won't be seeing Cruachan, Bloodstock?
We played there, I'd say 10 years ago. We headlined the second stage.
That was a very different festival.
It was indoors back then. Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, if Bloodstock were to have Cruachan, they would be paying us. You know, so there's no question.
It'd be a main stage as well.
Headlining, you know.
I tell you, they're getting more diverse with their headliners now, and Parkway Drive and Sabaton and all this. Judas Priest.
Sabaton are fucking huge. Like,
they did well with the Hellfest thing, didn't they? Did you see that?
No.
They Manowar.
Oh yeah, of course.
They didn't play, and then so Sabaton filled in for them as a headliner. But I think the singer's voice was fucked, so the guitarist sang the set for them.
Oh wow, we shared a tour bus with them in Ukraine once, and like just at the time they were about to break, but they're the nicest bunch of guys. Like people slag them off and that kind of shit, but undeservedly they deserve where they are.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus, they're making fucking waves.
That's their career. Like they're making.
So whoever's laughing at them. Yeah, go back to your desk job, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's the way I look at that.
I remember when Garrett from Aylestorm, when he left Waylander to join Aylestorm, a few people in the Irish scene saying, imagine leaving a serious band like Waylander to play in a pirate metal band. And I'm like, I can totally imagine it. That's his career. He just, like, they earn a fuckload of money doing what they love. So totally, no disrespect to Waylander. No. Really good friends of mine, but I can totally understand Garrett leaving and joining a big band like Aylestorm. Like,
that's like Johnny King going over to play with Conan now. He's in Conan, you know. He was with a band in Incarnate, and now he's with Conan, and they're doing fantastic shit in the States and all now. It's just always nice to see one of our own kind of.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I was talking to John from Conan. I was like, look after the Irish, like, look after him now, you know what I mean? It was cool, like, you know, it's good to see.
He's an amazing drummer as well.
Oh,
he's incredible. incredible.
I think I actually asked him to play for us years ago, and he was too busy. And it's always the way. The good ones you can't get, like, you know. Tell me this. Give me some Irish bands that you liked from the past and today. You don't have no list around. Just throw some names at me, that bands that really you like or you have liked. Or there's a wealth of them.
Absolutely. So I like Two Tales of Woe.
Hey!
Which,
thank you.
And like, it's kind of shit that you're asking me that, because I've said that in some interviews before. Just your stuff is so fucking tight and professional, and like, and yous are one of the bands. This sounds like total brown nose. Fuck you, you're shit.
Yeah.
No, but I think the stuff you're doing, I hear that in festivals when I tour all around the world. Like, Two Tales of Woe are just as good as this. Way back in the day, I used to love Cursed Earth.
Oh yeah, I remember them.
Jeez, I was a kid. That's back when I was playing with Crypt.
Wow.
So I was like 13, just kind of going, oh my god, they're amazing. Trying to think, throughout the ages. Oh, I'm forgetting everything. Jesus Christ.
I'm throwing a lot at you today.
Yeah. Waylander's new album. I mean, I've always liked Waylander, of course. I hated when they did King of the Fairies, because I was working on the Cruachan version of King of the Fairies then. And interestingly, when we turned down Century Media went to Waylander, and Waylander got signed to Century Media, and Century Media fucked them over. Like, they were gone within one album. But their new album is fucking amazing. It's like, wow, it's all like, some of the songs are almost at commercial level, not commercial pop.
I know what you mean.
You know, could really fucking do well. Looking forward to hearing them playing with us now next week.
Oh yeah.
Who else? I've never been a fan of Primordial, and like Alan knows, like we toured together. We're like, and Kieran Williams, like we go back 25 fucking plus years, but it just never clicked with me. And I don't know if it's like 25 years of begrudgery, like forcing myself not to like them. The rest of Cruachan loved them. I'm writing new songs and shit, and like, that sounds very like, are you ripping off Primordial? Like, no, I don't fucking listen to Primordial. But total respect for him.
Some frontman, isn't he?
Yeah, he's great.
He's
absolutely.
fantastic.
I mean, the whole band are spectacular. I've watched them live so many times. They're fucking fantastic. But the music's never clicked with me. And I think it's because I'm so into folk music that I hear the folk melodies in the background, and I'm like, oh, please put a violin on that. And some of the things that they say, we'll never have chuggy power chords. I'm like, what? The essence of heavy metal you're never going to have? So little things like that just have made me not really click with them, but they're exceptional band. There's no doubt about it. And the crew in it were amazing. Mentioned them already.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to think. I've seen some bands in Fibbers that I thought were great. Elevation Falls. Elevation Falls. Really,
they're doing really well. Yeah, they're building.
Hazel, the singer, she's fantastic.
She's a great singer. Yeah.
Brilliant fucking. And like, I've started in the last year going back to Fibbers a lot.
It's only there a few times.
Yeah, and like, it's great. It's unchanged from when I used to go there. It's like, and I had a reputation for a while of being Kitty's Place, Fibbers, and fuck that. No. I've heard some amazing bands there. Yeah. I don't know who they are. I'm like, this is great. And you look at the pubs around Dublin that have come and gone, and Fibbers is just
still there.
It's a mainstay, you know. It's survived. I can't really think of any others. Tin Lizzy,
even now.
I seen them in Spain, Leyendas del Rock. They were brilliant.
Were they Black Star Riders or?
So apparently Black Star Riders, when they get an offer to do a gig as Tin Lizzy, they'll do it. So they did the whole Tin Lizzy show, but they had the drummer from Judas Priest, bass player from Mastodon.
What the hell?
It was amazing. And Ricky Warwick, obviously, on vocals, and Gorham, John Gorham.
Scott Gorham.
Scott Gorham. It was amazing. Like, I'm not the biggest Tin Lizzy fan, but I wanted to see it. And me and John Ryan from Cruachan, we were like, we were drunk, just, the boys are back in town, fucking go, Ireland, ole, ole. We had a ball. It was amazing. As far as it's the first time I seen Tin Lizzy, even though people in Ireland probably say, I'm not fucking Tin Lizzy. I had a ball. Absolutely loved it.
That's what it's all about, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't, I have to say, I love Ricky Warwick, but I can't stand when he sings Tin Lizzy stuff. He tries to accentuate things Phil, but he can't do it.
And it's like, what kind of pressure is that to not actually sing in your own vocal style, but to try and imitate someone else? Yeah,
I wouldn't be into that now at all.
It's a tough one to call, alright.
Right, okay, so I'm going to give you another difficult one. Give me your 3 favourite Cruachan albums. Oh. Not in any order. Yeah. But give me the three favourite ones and why.
I don't know, and I don't like this question.
I didn't bring you on for it to have an easy time.
Yeah, well, there you go. I'd have to say Tuatha Na Gael because it was the first one. It was fucking groundbreaking. It's considered a cult classic. I do get pissed off when I see people say, "Oh, it's my favourite Cruachan album." I'm like, "Oh, we've done so much better."
Yeah.
I was 14 when I came up with that fucking album. But I get that. I'm the same. Like, I know, like, you probably know, a band always wants to hear their latest release is their fans' favourite release because we've worked. That's the fucking thing that's fresh. But look, I do it myself with a lot of bands. Their older albums are my favourite. But yeah, Tuatha Na Gael is definitely up there. And then, look, like, totally going along with what I said, Blood for the Blood God, and my favourite album is the latest one, 9 Years of Blood. Like, what we did on that was just out of this world. We've, like, just orchestras, just fucking, you name it. Like, that's the album that Michael Richards would have nightmares about. The huge tracks, the amount of tracks on it.
Jesus.
Oh, it's a monster of an album. But, you know, we don't come across like you're hearing an orchestra like when you hear Terry on. It's kind of subtle in some ways. But I think we did something really well. And the quality of it is the best we've ever done. Definitely. Again, with Michael. Michael's has a lot to do with how good we've become over the last few years.
It's like an extra member.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah. I know it's a cliche to say that, but he's become so ingrained in what we do. For the last 3 albums, we don't want to go anywhere. We've had offers by record labels to record with this producer, and I'm like, oh man, if I go there, it's going to be another fucking pagan. I'm not used to this guy. He's not used to me. And I don't know if that's a bad thing now. No. Like, we're always going to have the same, but we're not going to have the same sound. Michael goes out of his way to make sure we get different guitar sounds and so on. But
you stick with what you know. You're better off. You stick to your strengths, and then that person, and when that collaboration, as things go on, you just get better.
Absolutely. So, and now I feel I have the freedom to experiment a lot more with what we're doing. And Michael's always on board. And, you know, sometimes we'll be there late at night kind of going, oh, what do we do? This, like, what do we play it backwards, put reverse feedback, like bang a gong, kick a cat, fucking smash a window. And he's like, yeah, let's try that. Like, he's always open.
He's willing to try that.
Yeah. Like, there's a funny vocal part. It's actually on the Battle of the Yellow Fort, which is the music video. The very first vocals, Forces of the Crown, I wrote that. We rehearsed it. I didn't sing it much. We recorded the music. Then I'm doing the vocals. And I'm like, how the fuck am I... What was I thinking? Like, I wanted to do it... the kind of James Hetfield style vocal I do on a lot of Cruachan stuff. Forces of the Crown. I was like, this is not working. Fuck. And then we took a break. It was just me and Michael in the studio. I went down to Liffey Valley, got some lunch, and there was just something going through my head. And I was like, yeah. I was like, Michael, right. We got to try something. Just trust me. Just record my voice, and then record again. And the first time I sang it, I'm just like, Forces of the Crown assembled to march again. And I could see him in the control room saying, Keith's literally having a mental breakdown. What is this shit? Then we recorded another one. Then I harmonised with that. And as they started building up, he's like, oh, this is working. This is great. Yeah. And we recorded like 34 vocal tracks or something. Just layered them all onto each other. And just came out of the room with my arms in the air like, yes.
Oh, I have to listen to that.
But yeah, Michael's great in that way. He'll try anything. Plus, he'll kind of put his own little, stamp on it and say, are you sure you want to do that? Or, oh, that shit. Or maybe not, let's not do vocals today, Keith. Like, he's not afraid to tell you your shit at that moment. So yeah, the collaboration is great with him.
That's fantastic. So we'll leave it at that for your albums then, because they're all your children. You don't like picking your favourite children.
The runt would be pagan.
Oh.
And that's funny. Like, I put that up on our Facebook a few times or out there, and so many fans are like, what? This is my favourite album. And like,
just shit on there.
It's just the way it is. I mean, like, I was so excited about Pagan. The songs were so strong, but the way it turned out, woo.
Did you ever re-record some of the songs off that album?
We re-recorded Pagan. That was on, and it was on the Blood for Blood God album as a bonus track.
Cool.
That's cool. I think we have Babs, Chris sing. Yeah, we have Babs who's singing with us at the gig next week. She sang on that.
Excellent. That's cool. So, just a quick one. Give me some of your favourite albums, outside of Cruachan that you like.
Okay. Does it have to be metal?
No, whatever you like.
Right. So, I'm big into classical music. It's probably the main thing that I listen to, and
Excellent.
more so contemporary classical. Like, I'm obsessed with Ludovico Einaudi at the moment.
Okay.
And he's brought out he's releasing an album every month it started 4 months ago, and it's a 7-month thing, and it's called 7 Days Walking. So there's melodies, motifs and stuff built up throughout album 1, but album 2 is a continuation of them, and album 3 is a continuation of the continuation.
Oh, wow.
And it's just incredible. His music just, oh my God, it's so emotional. I just can't put words on it, and I urge everyone not to listen to him because I'm ripping off everything he does for the next Cruachan album.
Right, so you let me know when it's safe to listen to him, okay?
Metal wise, I've become obsessed with old school trash. So, and actually, this came from 70,000 Tons of Metal. I seen Demolition Hammer, and I was watching Demolition Hammer going, why did I not listen to these back in the day? So I'm obsessed with all the Demolition Hammer stuff. I'm a big fan of Dimmu Borgir. I love all of their albums, even the ones that people say are shit. I love them. I think they're fantastic. I think my favourite album is Progenies of the Great Apocalypse by them. That's always in my kind of
It's a big one.
cycle. Horselips, all their albums, play them all the time. Big Michael Jackson fan.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love Michael Jackson.
Yeah, well, the man could fucking sing.
Yeah, no doubt about
He
it.
could dance.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we were, the whole thing with him, was it this year?
Yeah.
That was disgusting.
Yeah,
I feel it was.
I'm still on the fence about it. I always defended him, and I haven't watched that documentary, and my friends were like, Keith, just watch the fucking documentary.
I watched it so as I could.
But I'm like, that's a completely one-sided argument. And since the documentary, a lot of stuff has come out that factual things said in it are wrong and so on. But look, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Karen, our old vocalist, her daughter was pen pals with his daughter Paris back in the day. So there's a connection. Paddy, who threatened me to take loans out, he hosted Michael Jackson at Grouse Lodge Studio. So there's a connection there. And Karen met him, I think.
Wow.
That could be totally bullshit. Yeah, her daughter was pen pals with his daughter, which is kind of crazy.
But yeah, I
definitely didn't molest her.
No, good. That's a good thing. So like your lyrical content is factual. It's historical. What is it all from one specific period of history, or what's your favourite one that you like to kind of write about?
It was, and I mean, I guess it's not all factual. Those Lord of the Rings songs are.
You know what I meant.
Well, the songs about fairies as well. Although a lot of people are.
King of Fairies.
So back in the day, the whole concept of the band was singing about Irish mythology, Celtic history, and Tuatha Na Gael is exactly that. The Middle Kingdom is that. Around I think after Pagan, and we would get into the Viking history as well, like Brian Boru kind of stories fighting the Danes, and the last 3 or 4 albums there's a lot of recent Irish history. So you'll see the song about Michael Collins on the Pagan album.
Cool.
Wolf Tone is on Folklore. So yeah, it was a mix of history. The first 2 albums I think focused on the Celtic mythology, and that was our concept. That's why we wore the kilts and tried to look like kind of fantasy versions of what a Celtic warrior would look. Definitely not a historical version. Yeah. Lately, the lyrics have got into a lot of different stuff. From Grace O'Malley, lost my train of thought there. But the new album that I'm working on, because we've completed the trilogy of Blood. Yeah. And the last album was a concept album, of course, was the 9 Years' War, which was tough because the whole album had to flow and tell a story from one song to the next, from the beginning of the 9 Years' War to the end and everything in between. So that was tough because it's so much I wanted to write about, but I'm stuck to this concept album. But I'm very proud of it. I'm really proud of what we did with that. The new stuff I'm working on is very...
You don't have to give it away now.
Yeah, no, I don't mind talking about it. I'm very proud of it. Like, good. It's I'm trying to get the kind of 18th century, 1700s feel of Ireland and peasant life. Yeah. And, they're very Christian, but they also there's a lot of places that remember the olden ways. So I've got songs about, I'm also mentioning the kind of stuff that's, I've said too many times there. No, another thing throughout our album has been criticism of the Christian church and the Catholic church.
Okay.
That's been throughout. Like our song Pagan on the Pagan album is complete criticism of the Christian church and what they've done throughout history. So following that through on the new album, there's the thing with the tune babies and all these new unearthings of the Catholic Church and what they used to do to poor Irish people right up to the 1950s and 60s. Definitely have captured that in a couple of the songs in a kind of abstract way. It's not blatant, but the feel of it is like almost like Halloween. The whole album is going to be like a Halloween kind of album. You're in the countryside, in the woods. Like we've got a song I'm planning to call The Witch. And that's another thing I'm thinking of. Every song will be a one-word title. Like I finished one called The Crow. I'm working on one called The Witch. I have another one called The Harvest. The song that mentions this kind of Christian thing is called the Hawthorn, and that's related to the fairy Hawthorn, that kind of thing. So yeah, it'll be a little bit different lyrically on the new album.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, I'm excited about
it. It's coming across that you're very excited about it.
I got a full-on erection.
I got tongue twisted there. You see that? Jesus.
That's my erection.
Oh my God. It's in my mouth. Listen, we're going to... we haven't even touched on another part of what we wanted to talk about. So what I'm going to do is we're going to talk one more little bit.
Yeah.
Then we'll take a little 2-minute breather, and then we'll come back into talking about the other aspect of Keith Fay in a minute.
It's a big epic. How long are your podcasts normally? An hour?
About an hour, but this is. I'm enjoying this one.
All right.
I'm happy enough.
Okay. Yeah,
if you're happy
good.
enough. Yeah. So, this gig that's coming up. You've 4 guest vocalists?
Yes, we do.
Tell us the importance of those ladies.
So the whole thing was, well, first thing was when we decided to do this year's gig, we always play Dublin once a year, and it's a pain in the hole because I arrange pretty much everything.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot to be said for going away and some promoters doing everything. I'm that fucking promoter when it's a Dublin gig, and it's a pain in the... I hate it so much. On the day of the gig, it's the most stressful fucking thing, like... I need a float. I need money for this. Oh my God, the doors, and this isn't working, and we're let down. Oh shit. So anyway, yeah, last year was that multiplied by 10, collecting Skyclad at the airport and so on. But it was such a fucking success. Like the Button Factory was jammed. There was so much going on. We had the Joffer Drenger Vikings reenactment group scaring the fuck out of people outside in the queue. It was amazing. Like it was a spectacle. And I was in the Button Factory a few weeks ago meeting Terry Gray, one of the vocalists.
Yeah.
And we were chatting at the bar. I was telling her what to expect. And the barman was like, "Oh, you're Cruachan." That gig was fucking amazing. It was one of the best times working in the bar. Like, hey. So this gig, we said, well, how are we going to top that? Like, we got to do something. We didn't go with Skyclad again. You don't want to do the same thing over and over, even though we have played with Waylander and Celticor before, but haven't played with Celticor in a few years. And Waylander obviously played last year. So we said, like, let's get back to some of the vocalists that have played with us in the past. So number 1 is obviously Karen, who was a member of Cruachan for 10 years. Vetra has played a few festivals with us in Eastern Europe. She's from Lithuania. She's an incredible singer. Is
she based here, or is she coming over for the gig? Or?
She was based here. She's living in Spain now. But she plays with a Lithuanian folk group called Kulgrinda. Okay. And her family are part of the kind of pagan Baltic religion.
Oh.
When Lithuania gained independence, on the first day of independence, there was a big ceremony with the Prime Minister and the government, blah, blah, blah. On the second day, her mother and father, the main high priest, inaugurated the country with the new president. Like, her family are amazing. Cool. The whole history of the music she does is amazing. So, yeah, you should check out her music.
Absolutely.
Then we got Terry Gray. She hasn't sang with us before, but I connected with Terry about a year ago. She sings Americana stuff, but she's just incredible, like an exceptional voice. I've seen her live so many times.
She's fantastic.
She is, and she's recorded in Nashville. Like she's the real deal. And I just said, would you be up for doing this? Totally out of your comfort zone. And the personality she has, like, yeah, sure, fuck it. That kind of gung-ho attitude. She's brilliant, and I'm looking forward. We haven't jammed with her yet, so we're jamming with her this week. Hopefully it goes well. And then there's Babs Chris. We played with Babs a couple of times, and she sang on the Blood for the Blood God album, on Blood for the Blood God, and Marching Song of Fiach McHugh. She sings with Crafty Fuzz.
Oh yeah.
They're fucking deadly. And her and her fella Chris, like they're brilliant. They play out in Swords a lot. Like they're one of the closest couples you'll ever see, like the two of them. But she's got an incredible voice as well, and like the four of them. First of all, we were promoting it as 4 female vocalists. And I'm like, oh, that's a bit fucking exploitative sounding. Like, that's not the intention here.
Yeah.
So then the poster's out there, and it was just 4 guest vocalists.
It's going to be an awesome show.
I can't wait. And we've got the Joffer Drenger group back to do the reenactment. We've got the Suadel, I can't pronounce that word, the dance group coming from Cork. Cool. So they're going to do a dark burlesque show in between Waylander and Cruachan, and they're working on a kind of contemporary dance piece during our song Queen of War.
Oh, cool.
So that should be something. I hope it works.
That sounds like an awesome event.
Yeah.
They're really good. I think I'm when is it again?
Friday the 13th. Like literally next week.
Yeah, I think I'm on nights, but I think I'll come in after the nights. Because the last one I went to, the last one I went to was in Voodoo with Celtic Art, which was fucking deadly. Like,
so, that's what I mean. The last few years of playing in Ireland have been great for us, but contrasted with like 10 years ago, we were lucky to get 50, 60 people.
Well, you're going about the right way though. Now, playing once or twice a year, and that's it.
Exactly.
Listen, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take 2 minutes, and then we'll come back and talk about more about things. Hang on a second. Yeah, so here we are back. I had a slash, Keith had a wank, so not in the same together now, but like we're there. Yeah. We're back.
It's a mess here. It's disgustingly sticky.
Thankfully there's no one here.
Sticky and smelly.
Listen, there's another aspect of your life I'd like to talk about, and that's your hobbies and interests.
Oh, hobbies and interests, not the AIDS.
No, we can talk about that in a full podcast. You have a couple of YouTube channels.
I do, yes.
Talk to us about them.
So, I'm a big collector, and I've always collected stuff. Like, and actually, people, if you see where I am in KingWoes Court, it's like surrounded by collectibles. And as soon as I walk in, it's like, oh shit, this is amazing. But yeah, I collected Star Wars figures. I still do to an extent, lots of action figures. And in the last kind of 7 to 8 years, I got really big into collecting video games. I'm not just collecting any old video games, like collecting rare collectible stuff. So at the moment, my collection's hitting about 5,000 physical copies. Like I've always been into video games. Just love them, you know.
Did I see that you completed the PS2 collection?
No, I'm working on a Dreamcast complete collection at the moment. But the PS2, that's a problem. Yeah. You're talking over 1,000 shit sports titles that you don't want to own, like you have to complete it.
Someone I saw must say, because like I said, there's a few people I know like yourself that collect. That's some collection though, isn't it?
Yeah.
That you have, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of problematic. And the thing is, it's like 5,000 really good games. There's very little shit, and there's really rare stuff in there. So it was my daughter said it to me about 2 years ago. I said, Dad, you should do a YouTube channel on video games. And I was like, that's a great idea. Like, I'd love to just show off. I'm that kind of guy. I like to get in front of the camera and just shite talk.
Yeah.
If there's an audience there, that's great. So I set it up, I think 2 years ago maybe. And I've just loved it. I do mostly like Let's Plays, just me playing the video game, shouting at the screen. But I do top 10s, and like around November last year, if a top 10 Amiga games video I did, just out of nowhere, just peaked. I was getting hundreds of thousands of views.
Wow.
And I've only got 4,000 subscribers. But around the time of that video peaking, I got 500 subscribers in 1 month. And I thought, I made it. I'm PewDiePie. I'm going to retire and live off YouTube. But as quick as that happened, it just went back down to the normal 10, 20 subscribers a month. But I do it for the enjoyment.
You enjoy it.
I really, really love it. And look, my channel is monetized. I do make money out of it. Not enough to retire on. But that's a nice little thing.
Absolutely.
And the money that comes in, I'll buy more video games.
Something extra.
Upgrade the camera, that kind of thing.
So it goes back into what you're putting in.
Yeah. I mean, it's only a couple of quid.
Wrong with that?
Absolutely, yeah. No, I'm delighted. I mean, the greatest thing is when people are responding and commenting on the videos that you see they're actually watching them and they're like, great video, Keith, or Jesus, Keith, try harder, you suck, you know, that kind of thing.
Any reaction is a good reaction.
Yeah. And then very recently, I've been a big Harry Potter fan, and I know that's probably cringy for some people, but fuck it is what it is.
Fuck that.
I love it. I mean, I was obsessed with the books, obsessed with the movies, and I've got into collecting the books, like the rare books, and books from all over the world. Like when I was in Russia there a few weeks ago, we were playing Folk and Summerfest in Moscow. I picked up all 7 Russian copies of Harry Potter.
Wow.
Now,
It's all in Russian.
Yeah, like I'll never read it.
No,
obviously.
Be a clip.
But yeah, my collection's really, really grown. I've actually got some artwork from the original artists that designed the Harry Potter UK covers. Got some, started getting J.K. Rowling's signatures. So my daughter again said, Dad, because I put one up on my Cruachan Keith YouTube channel, the video game channel. And I was like, oh, this is going to make me lose subscribers. But I want to show off my, it was a US collection that I got, box set. And then just brought my daughter to dinner one day. She was like, you should do a dedicated Harry Potter channel. This is the one that 2 years previously said the Cruachan Keith video game channel.
She should be your manager.
I know. And I was like, that's a great idea, Niamh. And we were there like, what would we call it? And then the two of us came up with the Metalhead, Potterhead.
That's cool.
In the last 2 months, I'm doing a video a week just showing either stuff that I found in charity shops, my actual collection, this pickups that I've done, and you know what, very few subscribers, just about 100 at the moment, but you have to start somewhere.
Exactly,
and people are watching them, people are talking to me about it, and I actually feel now the Harry Potter YouTube channel will probably get more interest over the coming months. But
possibly.
We'll see. I'm doing it for the love. It's a fun little hobby. It makes me smile. What can I say?
And that's not a bad thing. That's a really good thing.
Absolutely.
What would be your all-time favourite video game to play? Have you got one?
I do, actually. I do. And I've been playing video games since, I was 8 years old. I remember there was a Master System at home, and we had Alex Kidd and Miracle World. And I think the original Donkey Kong was on the Master System. I remember like having to be in bed by 11 o'clock, and I would come down, look through the keyhole, and my mum is there playing Alex Kidd and Miracle
Your
World.
mum.
So like so many memories of classic video games. My first system was a Commodore 64.
Same.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
My mother, right?
Yeah.
So as when my mother was sick, like she was sick.
Yeah.
And she died from her sickness, whatever. But just in context. So she couldn't do anything. She couldn't move. So I had Pac-Man on a cassette.
Okay.
And she was like, from a magazine. And she's like, can you show me how to load that up? And I was like, yeah, no problem. So I remember the old tape.
Oh, fantastic.
So
yeah.
I'd go out to school and she'd be there playing Pac-Man. I'd come home and she'd still be playing fucking Pac-Man.
And that was my ma with Super Mario.
And
would your ma, my ma would always went with the controller when she goes to jump. She'd move the controller up in the air. Yeah, it was really fun.
Or my uncle was, he was playing SmackDown on the PS2.
All right.
And he like that. He was like he was trying to fight, like, you know.
But I was so ridiculous back then. I used to throw joysticks at the wall. I get so frustrated. I actually fucked my entire Commodore 64 and tape deck. Plugged them all methodically, put them all together, opened the top bedroom window and just fucked them all out. I was so, whatever game it was, I was just fuck this game. But after Commodore 64 was the Amiga 1200, and that led to PC gaming. And I was just a PC gamer for years. Then in the last kind of, I'd say, 8 to 10 years, I got really into console gaming. But my all-time favourite game, which I do definitely have one, is Elder Scrolls Oblivion.
All right.
Oh my God, I don't know if it's just the memories of where I was at that time when I was playing it, what I was going through. I was going through a breakup actually, and for me it was like, and the breakup involved staying in the same house as the woman I was breaking up with, and that was a few months. So I used to feel I need to escape, and my escape was into Cyrodiil and playing Oblivion, you know. So it could be just not a nostalgia, but just those rose-tinted glasses of where I was at that time. But for me, Oblivion is my all-time favourite.
I was never into the Elder Scrolls series.
Really?
I'd say Arlene, my partner, she is a Skyrim fanatic.
Yeah, I love
like
it.
she has she has Skyrim tattoos on her feet.
Nice.
And everything.
Wow.
Yeah. You know the dragon?
Yeah.
The Dragonborn thing, yeah.
And the funny thing, when I was a PC gamer around 94, 95, I got my first 486 DX266 IBM compatible PC. Beautiful.
Wow.
Obviously there's no internet back then. Well, there is an internet, but in Ireland there's no internet as we know it back then in 94, 95. Unless you're in colleges and shit like that. But we used to get our magazines. I used to always get PC format magazine, and at the back there was a top 10 of every type of genre. And the number one role-playing game was always Elder Scrolls Arena. And I loved role-playing games. And unless that game was recently released, you're not finding it in the game shops in Dublin. It came out a year ago. It's gone now. It was never released on budget. I used to just longingly look at these 3D graphics in that one little window of a screenshot, and then never got to do it. Daggerfall came out when I'd moved to PC and it was unplayable, even though I had an amazingly expensive PC. So the first Elder Scrolls experience was Morrowind. Actually, Morrowind was incredible. But yeah, Oblivion all time.
And do you like Skyrim?
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. I got halfway through it and stopped playing it. So I haven't finished the main story, but I've picked up the kind of special enhanced edition on PS4 and also the virtual reality VR
Did you get that one, yeah?
Yeah, I stuck it on, and people say the graphics are kind of blockier than almost any other VR game out there. So I don't know if I'm going to play it. I'm not going to play it in VR. Absolutely not. I'm going to play the enhanced 4K amazing edition. I'm going to start it from the start, like on the wagon. Don't get my head chopped off.
Yeah, you might as well. I've seen that a few times. Obviously, with as I said, Arlene, she is only the other day she was like, I think I'm going to upload it again and play it again. You know, so
I like Arlene.
Yeah, she's the best. Do you like any kind of games nowadays? What would you play? Modern games? Or
Yeah, definitely.
what floats your boat at the minute?
I mean, as a collector, I always avoid paying full price, so I'll never ever buy a new game. Like, just never will, never have. And I told you, I was talking to you earlier, I said I've just recently played Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, so I've got Fallout 4, need to get into it. I'm playing through the entire Halo series at the moment, and I hated Halo, because I used to play it back then when I was a PC gamer, so I didn't have an Xbox. I got it on PC, and the little grunts were going, I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is meant to be a serious first-person shooter. Why are they squeaking like a kid's television program? And that was the end of Halo for me until a year ago. People were saying, you gotta fucking play Halo Reach. Like, you gotta experience Halo Reach. So I played through the first Halo and was like, oh, I love this.
Yeah.
I got over the grunt, stupid, ridiculous noises that they make. Then by Halo 2 and 3, they kind of done away with the grunts being so fucking stupid. And now I played Halo 3. Last week I was playing Halo 3 ODST.
Oh, yeah.
And I played 5 hours, I forgot to save, and I'm back 5. So I'm not going to finish that. And I've been playing Halo Reach for the last week, and I'm fucking loving it. As soon as we finish here, I'm going home, and Halo Reach is going on.
That's what I like to hear.
One of the newer games I really loved was Doom 2016.
Oh, the new one, yeah.
Oh my god. And the soundtrack.
It's vicious, isn't it?
God, it's brilliant. Just had the best fun.
So in your face.
Oh, it's classic Doom, but modern graphics and amazing soundtrack. Yeah, I had the best fun with that. Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Did you play GTA 5 at all?
Oh, yes. Only recently. Because I've no interest. I played GTA 3 when it came out because I was so excited to see the 3D change from the first 2 Grand Theft Autos. And then just never had the time, or I put it on a couple of years ago and said, it's not clicking with me. And only a few months ago, I said, everyone's talking. I gotta play this game. And the thing on the PS4, it came out with first person mode on it. So I played through the whole thing, and I was like, this is one of the best gaming experiences I've ever had. It was amazing.
It's absolutely brilliant.
It's just so good. The story, the acting is fucking hell. Yeah, I loved it. Absolutely.
Although I don't know, you know, a man that plays Trevor. If you ever see him in anything now, he's just like a live action version of Trevor. The not necessarily what he does as a character. Like, he's in The Walking Dead, and
I've seen that.
He's just like
it's Trevor.
It's Trevor.
Did you see the kind of fake VR Grand Theft Auto clip on YouTube? I don't know whether it's for charity or not, or just some collaboration with this guy, YouTuber, big YouTuber. But he puts on the VR headset, and then boom, Trevor in the game, and they're walking around like blowing cars up, all in real time. Or it's not a video game; it's in the real world. Right. You gotta check it out. It's
check that out. That sounds dead.
Yeah.
Have you seen Red Dead Redemption 2?
Oh, that's another one I played recently.
It's
Dead Redemption, yeah.
Did you play the first one or the second one?
I played the first one recently on the Xbox, but Xbox Pro, so it was kind of upscaled, and it looked amazing because everyone was on Facebook on Red Dead Redemption 2. I was like, oh Jesus, I better play the original one. So I still have to play the Undead Nightmare as well. And
that's very hard.
Is it? Yeah. It's a short enough game, people are telling me.
Yeah, it's good though. But number 2. Now, no, I presume number 2 was like a prequel.
Oh, I did hear
like that. Number 2 finishes directly where number 1 starts off. It's
You
great.
just spoiled it for me, you fucking prick.
Sorry. You'll still enjoy it though.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's definitely.
But that's a big experience. Like that game is fucking huge.
Is it? Yeah.
And I'm one player. I do not like online gaming.
Same here.
I'm not
Never been a
of
fan.
online gaming. And like I'm playing Destiny 2. Only now I'm playing Destiny 2. I used to play the first Destiny religiously.
Yeah.
And then until people start wanting to play with, like in fire teams and get headsets and you go here and you go this and you do that. I'm like, I just want to dip in and out of the game.
I was like that with Half-Life 2, the online. I love the online of Half-Life 2. It's the only exposure to online game I really ever did. Apart from like chess or something.
But I'm playing the story mode of Destiny 2 and it was free on the PlayStation.
Oh, there is because I got the first Destiny. When Destiny came out, I was like, it was cheap a year later. I didn't know much about it. It looks good. Bought it, and there was I didn't know I literally didn't know it was online only. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah. So Destiny 2 has a solo campaign on it, doesn't it?
The first one does as well. But you can see it, but you're still interacting with online or with other players,
Oh, okay.
So number 2,
it's like Dead Island that you can come in and out, but you're still fucking hell.
You should give it a go. Destiny 1, storyline's good. Second one is even better. I'm finding because when I heard there was a Destiny 2 coming out, and I was like, nah, I'm done with Destiny. And when I saw it was free, I was like, fuck it, I'll get it.
Nice.
And I'm really enjoying it.
I have them all at home.
I'm really enjoying the story mode at the moment.
I'll have to dip into that.
When it's very rare when there's a really good villain. And the big bad in this one, I think, is cool. His name is Gal, Ghal, or something like that. It's very cool, Far Cry, what do you think of the Far Cry series?
I love the original ones. The original Far Cry PC game was great. Far Cry 2 I finished when it was set in Africa. The ending was terrible, the suicide kind of thing. Far Cry 3 I couldn't get into. I played a few. Again, probably like Grand Theft Auto, it didn't click with me, but could go back to it. So I haven't gone near 4 or 5.
My experience with
Is there a 5? There is a 5.
Yeah. Far Cry Primal. Did you ever hear that one?
Yeah.
That was the one I really liked.
Yeah, I must give that a shot. That interests me. The whole
it's a different
10,000 years BC thing.
That one, and then I had Far Cry 4, but I never played it. But it's free again on the PlayStation Store, so I got it.
Holy shit!
And then I had the 5 was the Cult Leader, I think it was.
Yeah,
we played that. And there's no happy ending in that one.
Oh, like the second Far Cry 2 didn't have a happy ending.
So I'm not giving that away there. I'm just saying
that's all good.
Happy ending.
That's all good.
Did you remember actually? Because I'm a bit of a nerd myself now. Obviously not to your level of PC or gaming. Well, with this I am, but not. Do you remember the BBC computers?
Oh yeah, the BBC.
My friend had a BBC computer and the big fucking joystick, the little knob and that.
My favourite thing to do. Okay, this is nerd level 100, is to watch the 1980s micro live BBC computer programs from the early 80s. I will sit and watch them. I love that. Plus the computer chronicles from the US all through the 80s into the early 90s.
Are they all on YouTube, are they?
All of them. And I'm just in like Friday night at home, few beers on my own, YouTube watching 1980s British computer programs. Yeah. Oh man, I'm in my element. I love it. And that micro live was made by the BBC. The computer was made by the BBC, so it focuses on that computer so much. Like,
I remember playing that with my mate, Jesus, and he used to have to go because I didn't have a computer back then. And he'd go up to you with him, and it'd be like it was like fucking drugs. We playing the computer.
I was like that with the Amiga. It's like when my friends had an Amiga, I just had the Commodore 64. I was like, oh my god, can I come and play Lemmings on your Amiga, please?
Lemmings. Yeah, my friend had an Amiga. I had a Commodore. What was that game called? Was it Altered World or something like that? What was it? I can't remember what it was called.
It was Altered Beast.
Not Altered Beast. It was some world anyway. It was
another world.
And it was another world.
Yeah, with the photorealistic animation. Yeah.
That was the game that we played all the time.
That was great. What was the one that came after Another World? Oh, I can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah. Like Dave Swift.
Who's Dave Swift? Tell us who Dave Swift is.
Dave Swift. Oh my god, it's just come to me now. So Dave, if you've listened this far, I'm sorry. Dave Swift is the guy from Cleve who was the expert on our music video. Very good friend.
Go to Dave if you want a video.
I can't believe. Oh, it's just when you're interviewed, sometimes you get a blank and you know.
And we just throw stuff at you.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Listen, this has been fantastic. And
a bit longer than we thought.
I know, but hey, I mean, it's
Time flies when you're having fun.
that
and
flew in.
thanks.
Well, you did. I did. Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure and an honour to sit down and chat with you
Oh,
today.
would you stop?
Yeah, well, it has been.
Oh, stop, love. Would you, love?
Everybody better go to the gig.
Yes, please go to the gig because we need to have people there.
You need to pay your just superstar singers.
Yeah, well, there you go. We need to pay the Button Factory. That's,
that's more
the fucking thing I'm
important.
worried about.
Button Factory. Listen, Keith, thanks very much for coming
You're
on
welcome,
today.
Carl.
And,
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
We'll keep tracks on Cruachan and
Thanks.
yeah, well,
We try our best, we do.
keep
Sure.
the finger on the pulse, you know.
It's a small band. We try very, very hard.
Yay! Okay, guys, thanks a million. See you soon. Bye.